Oh. Okay. Yes. Oh. Jack.
No, stop. You blow. It'll go all over me. What are you doing?
Yes. Up.
Hello, so today is Tuesday and I taught the Bible at school this morning, but after that it's when I usually do things at home or do shopping or other jobs or my bookshop or planning things. So this morning I'm trying to do some baking. I'm not very good at keeping up with baking. So I've gone for something easy, something that Hannah learned at school once. It is a chocolate chip Anzac slice. I'm going to put chocolate chips on top rather than mixing it through. So this last week has been a really nice week. On Friday I got a book in the mail that I've been working on. And it's a book that I kind of wrote for my Bible class. And so it's a book of stories, which I find it very difficult to write stories and I don't have much confidence. Like for me, writing devotionals comes really easily, but not stories. But I did, with God's help, manage to write some, and so I put the children's names as the characters in the stories, the children from school, and that makes it really special for them. But on on Thursday they came in the mail, and I'd already taught the class that morning, and then Friday was teacher only day. So I asked the teacher if I could come in just before the kids left to go home, and I gave them their book. And like, I don't know, 2 weeks before, when there had been the death of a father at school, it was very, very sad, and my class was just really sad, and like half of them were crying. But when I gave them the book, it was like the other extreme. They were so happy, so excited, and so appreciative as well. Sometimes kids say something negative, but this time they all were so positive and so happy. It was just so nice that they appreciated what I'd done. So that's what it looks like. It's called More Stories for Children, and it's lessons from Proverbs, so each one has a proverb. So that was really nice. And then on Friday night, me and my husband went to a marriage retreat. So this is the first time our church put one on, and thankfully my sister was able to babysit our children, because it was like for an evening, a night, and the morning and lunch, and that was really nice in every possible way. There were really good topics, and it was lots of fun, and it was just, lots of fellowship and just a really nice time. So we really enjoyed that. So those were two things that made our week really nice. Now I'm making peanut butter bars. It says a large egg. I wonder what they call a large egg. These are, I think, normal size. We have one chicken who lays like enormous double yolky eggs. I don't know if they're too big. I think I'll just try it. Pretty much 2 eggs. I left my measuring spoon and one of my measuring cups at the marriage retreat because I made baked oatmeal because we all took turns with the cooking. So that was a bit annoying, but never mind. So yesterday I recorded 2 sessions at the radio, And so like I'm kind of I kind of pre-record, so like the one I'm going to talk about in a minute won't be on there for like, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks. But I told a story out of this book, and I don't read stories like this out, so I try to kind of tell them by memory, but do find it helpful now to just have the book in front of me, because in the beginning I would try to remember everything, and so I'd have to try to get all the stories like really fresh in my mind, and afterwards my head would feel like it's going to burst. So I kind of have the story in front of me, and then I don't read it out, but I kind of read it in my own words. So this story, I won't tell you what the story is, but it's about this man who's got to go into town right before Christmas, and it's like a big journey, like he's got to go in for his work, and so he's really grumpy and really annoyed. And it says, usually he was cheerful and pleasant, even when things went wrong. He was a man who feared the Lord. Now this sentence has really challenged me. It says, his bad mood today certainly was not becoming for one who served a master who makes no mistakes. That kind of challenged me, like how often is our attitude or, the way we act unbecoming for someone who believes in a God who doesn't make mistakes, or, we believe in a God who promises to provide and take care of us, and yet when we worry and we don't trust God, that's unbecoming for someone who believes in a God who promises to provide all our needs. And I guess you can apply it to lots of different ways, like we believe one thing and yet we often don't act as if we believe that. So for me that was a very challenging thought. If we believe God is in control, then we shouldn't moan and groan so much. And like I also, one of my first radio session I did yesterday, we're telling the story of the Israelites in the desert and how, they had a God who took care of them and who provided their every need, and yet their attitudes and their words were not becoming for a people who had such a good God taking care of them. Whenever they had a new problem, they kind of panicked and blamed Moses, and they didn't trust God to take care of them. So for me that is a real challenging thought, that our attitude or the way we think, the way we talk should be becoming for someone who has a good God taking care of them. I think George Mueller said something about that. I think there's a quote by George Mueller about that, how if you worry or something like that, that's a bad reflection on God, because if you have a good God taking care of you and yet you're worrying, it's like kind of a bad reflection on him. It's making him not look good. You're kind of living as though you don't have a God taking care of you. I said last week was a happy week, and it mostly was, but it did start off sad because on Monday we went to a funeral. I took the children of the man who had died. So that was still sad, but it was happy in that, he was a man who loved and trusted in God. He had a good testimony, and many people were touched by his life, and even the family had such strong faith in God. So even though that was sad, it was, still good in that way. But it wasn't a completely happy week. Another thought that has really challenged me this week, and especially in marriage, but it can apply to any relationship you have, but Jesus said we should love God with all our heart, and we should love our neighbor as ourselves. And I just realized how quick I am like to defend myself if I feel like my pride is threatened or whatever, like naturally me, but I'm sure it's not just me, like I'm so quick to defend myself and to speak up for myself, or but then like I can be so quick to look down on others or to think negatively about either my husband or anybody else for that matter. And so Jesus said to love our neighbor as ourself. So that means that naturally we defend ourselves. We kind of it's like we think so highly of ourselves, and we're so quick to jump on others or to look down on others, and yet we're so quick to defend ourselves. So loving others as we love ourselves is not thinking, not being so quick to judge and to think negatively or to speak negatively, but just as, we're quick to defend ourselves and to speak up for ourselves, we need to be like that to others. And if we're married, then to our husband, but it can be to anybody else around, just to treat them like we treat ourselves. Think of them like we think of ourselves, and not be so quick to, be judgmental or to talk negatively to or about. So there's another challenging thought. And another thought that I found encouraging. So this, last 2 weeks maybe, I learned a song called Still, Still With Thee, and it's by Harriet Beecher Stowe. So I learned the song, although it's not, if you know the song, then the song I sing to it is not the right tune. Today I've been making a song video from this song, because I sang it on the radio, and then now I just take that recording and make it into a music video. It's a really beautiful song, but her story is quite interesting too. So she's the one who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, which made a big difference with the slavery. But also she had 7 children. She also taught in a college, so she kind of, as well as being a mum, she did have a kind of career as well, which in those days was very unusual. I have a book here of song stories, so that's what I'm looking at. She wrote 30 books and lots of articles and poems. So yeah, in her life she did a lot, and she also had a lot of troubles as well. Like one of her sons drowned, and this book has a few other things that were sad as well. So she did so much, and then she had kind of heavy burdens to carry as well. And in the book here it says, how did she manage it all? And it says, first, she dedicated herself to God when she was 14 years old. And second, every morning, well, I don't know if it's every single morning, but she had a habit to get up at 4:30 to have time with God before the day started. It says she enjoyed watching the sunrise, listening to the birds, and sensing the all-encompassing presence of God. So I found that encouraging, because she did do so much, and yet, it was because she put God first. When you put God first, you do have time to do everything He wants you to do. You won't have time to do everything you want to do, or everything everybody else thinks you should do. But when you put God first, then He can do a lot through you. Just like the widow at Zarephath, she put God first by giving some of her food first to the prophet, and then she had enough for as long as she needed, even though she really had such a little bit of food. God made it enough. And when we give our time to God, when we put God first in our life with our time, when we don't have to get up at 4:30, but when we make it a priority every day to spend time with God, then we will do what God wants us to do. So we will be able to do a lot when we put God first. So I find that a very encouraging thought, because I often feel like I have way too many things to do and it can seem impossible, but I need to put God first, spend time with Him, and He'll help me do in a day what He wants me to do. So I'm working on that video today, so might even be on YouTube before I finish this vlog. Something that I've really enjoyed doing with the radio is studying people's lives. So often I will do a story about somebody, and like Harriet Beecher Stowe, she was somebody I didn't really know much about, but you can just learn so much just from people's lives, especially people who loved God and God was working in their lives. Then you can learn so much from them. So, and I'm actually working on a book for teens now of stories, and this has kind of come out of doing the radio, because I've learned about all these different people, and quite a few of them were like teenagers when their lives were kind of changed or turned around, or they started loving and trusting God. So now I'm able to take those stories and make them into a book. But yeah, it's definitely very inspiring and very encouraging to read stories of real true stories of people. With that song Still With Thee, it's not just about making sure you read your Bible each day, but it's that relationship that you have with God. You can just tell in the song, you know, how she loved, you know, being with God and just being aware of his presence. You know, it's not just about taking a bit of time to sit down and quickly read something in the Bible, but it's about, you know, being in the presence of God and spending time with him and getting to know him. Today I got given a whole pack of cards from the class that I gave my book to. A thank you cards. Must have been a class project, but that was really, really nice, which I didn't expect. A whole pack full of cards saying thank you and with creative, you know, pictures and notes from the children. And last night in our daily light had the verse, let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And a while back I was really struggling with teaching the class. But yeah, and I was tempted to quit, but I didn't. But you know, the last few weeks it has been a whole lot better and much more enjoyable. So good reminder to not be weary in doing good, so you will reap one day if you don't faint.
Okay. Yes! Adam! Yay! Hey! Oh!
Sorry.
Adam!
Get him. Oh, see, sorry.
Adam! Hey!
Whoa, Lydia, look. Ow.
Okay. Yes.
You want it on your nose?
Fine.
Okay, come here, come here.
Oh, a big one now. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I got another big one. Who knows?
Funny, right? No, Mummy, hold it. No, Mummy, hold it. Alright, Mummy, hold it. Yeah. Who did it? Yeah. No.
A big one.
Yeah, just do one. Whoa!
Do you want to